Today I show you how I produced a classic uplifting trance track in the style of a State of Trance by Armin Van Buuren, and it sounds like this. So this is the whole track. We have this vocal we are working with.
Falling in your sky, no parachute. You are breaking through my fears. Floating far beneath the tidal waves, but I know with you I don't need air.
Classic trance vocal, very cheesy. That's the way it is. I would say we start now with the drums. We have a classic kick drum. Trance style. The sample, I just have an EQ on, and I have later on Simplon for filtering. Then we have a snare drum, just filtered out the lows. A second snare drum, and a clap in addition. The clap I made a little wider with wider von infected mushrooms. Then we have a head loop, little soothe, kickstart, EQ, another loop, giving that typical trance drive, all simples from Splice, and a right loop. And in the beginning, we have that crash. With the drums goes for sure the basses. We have different kind of basses. We have a sub bass. It sounds like this. That's the serum, filtered down, sawtooth, and the lower sub below. This I cut out. And we have kickstart for sidechain. It's an offbeat bass, typical for trance. Then on top of that, we have a mid bass. It plays octaves. It looks like this. It's a Spire. I made this patch myself. Then we have LFO2 for sidechain. Slightly EQ here. Valhalla Room for a little reverb. And then another EQ here. Then we have another mid bass that's just playing one note. 16th note. EQ also. And also sidechain. And that's also Spire in a patch I made myself. Later on we have another mid bass that's a saw layer that comes on in the melodic part. I will show you then. So, and together with the kick, the basses sound like this. And on top of that we have leads. This is the first lead. That's the Spire. Spire saw. We have a Valhalla Room. EQ, kickstart for sidechain, and Simplon for filtering. Below that, we have another synth with playing chords. Typical trance big room sound. Same effects, Valhalla Room, EQ, and kickstart for sidechain. Together these two sound like this. And we have filter automations for both of them. We have one more lead here. It sounds like this. Gives just a little accent in the end of the bars. It's the plug classy. Gives another nice shiny vibe. And then we sound like this. Then we have here a snare wall, which leads us directly into the, let's say, breakdown, where we minimize the drums, go directly to 4 on the floor kick drum only, and the bass starts to play melodic notes, and we have a vocal coming in. Basses now sound like this. And we have a pad in the background. The pad is made out of a Spire, pad inspired. Just have an EQ, cutting out the lows, little soothe to get some resonances out of the way, kickstart, and simple for filtering. Altogether, it would sound like this. And now here we are filtering down the drums and the bass to let us glide softly into the break. In the break we have this plug coming in. That's ARP play chord, and I have a filter, OTT, and Valhalla Room, and below that we have that pad. When the vocal starts, we have that bass coming in. It sounds like this. It's a bass Dirty Reese out of my preset library. So the bass and the chords and the pad give a really nice vibe and bed for the vocals to come in. It sounds like this with the vocals.
Can you feel the voice from deep inside? Does it wake you up in the dead of night? It's a currency that you can't hold tight. How could something so beautiful be invisible?
And then we're going into the hands up part. Let's say we build up into the hands up part. Pads continued, filtering up, and we have this lead. This is the top layer of the lead. And the low layer is this one, playing 16ths. And these notes I played with the first layer are left out. So it sounds like this. And together they give a nice sound. And that's both the same preset. It's also the lead Spire saw. I just have a slightly transient shaper on it to give it a little more attack and an EQ. All the leads I show you now, which are marked as blue here, go in one group. Then we have a second layer, also split it in the high notes and the low notes. This sound is classic trance league. This is also out of my preset library. That's basic XiJaro wave. Filter envelope and a plucky envelope in general. And then we have the LFO driving a little the wavetable. So altogether, these leads sound like this. then we open up here totally, giving a lot of high end, and the pad is opening up. I add an extra pad in addition to make it more epic. That's the pad Dense Love, just in EQ. Together with the other pad, it sounds like this. And for sure, what cannot be missing is the bass. I continue with my resprays, and on top of that I add a layer as a mid bass. The mid bass is silent, and I cut off the lows to leave space for the respace. Then we have some effects for sure, like a downsweep and the impact. And to give it even more an epic vibe, I added this crowd, Atmo crowd. And this would sound like this. Then we add a snare roll. Which leads us into the build-up. Or the leads filtering down. I have this snare roll. And I added another one. I EQ'd them. We have this pad also, playing just the first chord, and then I make with a high pass filter that it disappears before the drop hits. Yeah, and then the build up would sound like this. I forgot the riser I made. It sounds like this. That's just a detuned sawtooth pitched up. Let's go to the drop. In the drop we have the drums as I showed you before. We start with the kick and the ride loop. Have a crash in the beginning. And we add back the basses, the sub bass, mid bass, second mid bass, and the sawtooth mid bass. Makes it a little warmer. And the pad is going. So all main leads go into the main lead group. It sounds like this. In the group we have a SSL compressor, pop filter for EQ, Soup, and Simplon for filtering. Then we send it to reverb. The reverb is a Valhalla Room, and I EQ'd the reverb so it's not as present in the lower mids. In the end, here we have this fill lead coming in again. In context, it sounds like this. I make it with the lead. Yeah, I would say we have a full listen.
Can you feel the